So this is just a test. This is an introduction to the interface on a basic level of Zbrush. It's pretty easy to get lost in Zbrush's interface. It's pretty intimidating at first glance. I mean, that's for sure. Especially if you're accustomed to 3ds Max, Maya or Mudbox, etc. Mainly because those apps make sense in comparison to Zbrush. But moving on swiftly, here in the middle you'll have the canvas. This is where you'll be sculpting. Yours may look a little bit different, as I've turned my gradient background off because I don't like it. That's just my personal preference. But on the far right we have by default the tool palette. Palettes can be placed on either side, on either divider, just by dragging them over, or they can be completely taken off, so you have more of a bare interface. You can access them all at the top as well, but just makes it, sometimes it just makes it having life easier having them on the side. So the reason why I'm starting off with the tool palette is mainly because it's pretty important, mainly because it has a save functionality, and now I myself didn't know it. What put me off most is because I couldn't find the save point whatsoever, the save function. It kind of frustrated me until I finally realised and researched it. Didn't take that long, but the thing is, you're working on tools rather than a scene. So think of it as that essentially. So you want to be saving the tool rather than the project or the document itself, because saving it as a document just saves an image for Zbrush, and you won't be able to use that. It's useless essentially. So you would be wanting to save the tool. Anyway, I've just saved the basic, the default name, just on my desktop. You can import, and it imports our OBJs, and I usually export my models out just so I can fix any polygons in Max, or if I want to add extra geometry, and Zbrush just is a bit awkward or finicky, too finicky for me to do. So it supports all that functionality as well. You'll see these little images here, and these just are a selection of Z tools that you can select from, but it's not really important at this point in time, apart from Zsphere, which we'll probably go into another tutorial later on. The next tool palette is the geometry tab. Now it's important this to understand, because this is where your subdivisions exist, so to speak, apart from on the model, of course. Now you can see here in the canvas the wireframe. Now this is at the highest subdivision level, which is 7, which is this subtool is holding 1 million polygons, and it's important as well to have separate subtools, which we'll go on to in a moment's time. Now if I go down to a low subdivision level, you see it starts to get a little blockier. That's because I started off with a Z sphere and then just formed it using the move brush. Press B to get to the brush palette, using a move tool with symmetry to move it about and to get the shape I needed. It's important to get the most out of each subdivision level, otherwise it's kind of pointless to keep dividing and dividing and dividing. If the best advice that I found was to get the most until you can't do anything else on that particular subdivision level, so you'd see the slow progression of detail that I'm getting from each subdivision level. But sometimes it is just good just to jump in into the deep end and just to start sculpting away on like 2 million polygons or something like that. But for organic stuff, and if you want it to look right, I guess, I'd suggest starting at the lowest and building yourself up, at least until you're at the position where you feel confident enough to go straight into like 2 million polygons sphere or something like that to make it whatever you're making. Well, anyway, so I mentioned Subtools. Subtool palette is essentially a list of every tool um, on the canvas. You see the darker elements here, and these are separate from this tool, so I'm not affecting them at all, but they are in the scene. And on here you'll see a little preview of each one of them, so you can see which ones are, but it's best to rename them so you don't get lost. See here, I don't know what that is, that just says PM3D cylinder 3D1, so I need to rename that. So I'll rename that to hat, just for simplicity's sake, and this to hair. I think that's hair. No, that's mustache. Oh, it doesn't matter. That's the hair. Rename that to mustache. Is that? No, that's the hat. Jesus Christ. Where is it? There it is. Oh, mustache. So yeah, if I wanted to get all up in Boris's grill, I can go through here and select which one I need to hide, so which is the tongue, and to get into this this pop-up, you press N whilst you're in the canvas, and then I can just simply hide that. Oops, that's not it, because I was already selecting that one. And there you go. And then I can edit that however I want to. Need to. That looks really strange. So yeah, I'm gonna turn that back on. It's better if you have more subtools, because if I have said it previously, it's probably best if I say it again, just so it's in your head that Zbrush better deals with more subtools, so it can calculate the polygons easier, rather than have it in one massive chunk, which will slow down your PC, especially if you have a bad PC. With the subtools as well, it's not always necessary to have separate subtools, especially if they're the same and they're not going to be going up in subdivision levels. At least these eyes aren't anyway, so I can just merge those together like you would in Photoshop with layers, as long as the one you need to merge down is above the one you need to merge with. And these merges aren't undoable unless, of course, you save iterations of the tool, which is obviously recommended if you don't want to be doing a load of work and just losing it. What else? I'm not going to go too into this because it's a bit complicated. I will go into the geometry. Have I done that? Yes, I think I have, in fact. That's it really, apart from the deformation. Deformation is quite useful, especially the way I got the eyes to be symmetrical is I modelled one first, and then I just duplicated it in the subtool palette, which is here, and if I want to I could just duplicate, let's say duplicate the hat for instance, and then I'll just mirror. Oh, you can't do it with a model with subdivision levels, I think. Is that what it said? Yeah, you can't do it for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably just messed everything up, so it's best to do it with one that doesn't have subdivision levels like the eyes. I just need to delete that extra hat. So, oh, where's my palette? There it is. Sorry, I was just looking for my tablet. I use a tablet for Zbrush, and I recommend if you don't use a tablet, get one, because it will change your life forever. I'm not even joking. It just makes navigation a lot easier. Navigation around the canvas as well. It's not like 3ds Max or Maya. I don't think it is anyway. If you hold shift, that locks it into different views whilst using the right click, or it's right click on the pen as well. Shift and right click to lock it into different perspectives. Or right click is to rotate around the model, or the subtool. F is to zoom entirely to the canvas 100%. And what else? Oh yeah, Alt and right click. If you click hold, whatever that is, you move the object around, or well, you move the canvas around, I guess. And control and right click hold, you zoom in. It's probably best as well just to note that to work in the orthographic viewport, mainly because it portrays vertical lines and horizontal lines correctly rather than in a perspective. At least that's what I was told, but I guess from personal experience, it makes life a little bit easier. Every now and again I pop out of perspective just to see what it looks like, because obviously it pops out a bit more, so it looks a bit different, so you can see. And when you're sculpting, especially like a face, you normally will get lost in the finer details when you're close up to it, and when you're up to here you could be like, oh yeah, this looks amazing from up close, but when you look far back you might not be able to recognise it as a face, or as anything. What did I just do there? I do that a lot. So it's always good, especially it's the same with when you're drawing in Photoshop or with anything really. You just zoom out just to see this, I guess, the silhouette, which you can do in here as well. A quick silhouette. I guess now I'll go into the brushes, I guess, which is on the left hand side, should I say. Here you'll have the brush palette here, or you can go and press B in the canvas and select whichever one you want. Here are the standard brushes. I tend to use Move, Clay Build, Clay Tube and Trim Dynamic, as well as if you press the comma or the left, whatever that key is, you'll bring up the light box, or you can click here. And then I'll go into Brush, and Damien Standard should be there, depending which version of Zbrush you're using. Damien Standard is very good for creases, both organic and inorganic, I guess, like trousers. It does a nice job. Also, when you're drawing as well, you'll see this reticule sort of thing, this red circle around. If you want to change the size it's affecting, you'd go in the draw size, or alternatively press S on the model or in the canvas to increase that, and the focal shift just affects the fall off, I guess. I think it is anyway. If not, then I'm wrong. I don't really use the focal shift. Also, if you want to smooth out details on the model, you hold shift and it'll turn blue, and then you can start to begin to smooth out details. And it's important to smooth out, especially for characters, to create details, then to smooth them out and to redo it, because it sort of like builds a foundation of what you're doing, so it becomes more solid than just really jagged. I don't know what that is, ignore that. if you're making characters, I guess look into no, I don't guess. I recommend looking into anatomy, even if you're just creating like a complete fantasy character that really isn't human at all. It doesn't really matter. If you understand anatomy, you would understand form, and you'd understand um, how a character can become recognizable to be a character, because you could create this amazing character and that only you would recognize, and when you show it to someone else they'll be like, what is it? I don't understand. Like, is it a monster? Is it a bush? I mean, it could be that bad. It could be an amazing monster and it just look like a bush or something random like that. I don't know. um, so it's pretty essential to understand anatomy, so you can build off it. And there's probably a lot of things wrong with this model anatomy wise, but that's because I'm going for the more, I guess, cartoony look. um, Russian Boris guy or whatever his name, whatever he is. um, you'll notice on the hat here that I've got some stitching, and this was done through alpha maps, and on the with the brushes they come with a whole load of alpha maps here that allow you to create some pretty cool things. um, and usually by default it's just a square one for this um, clay build up. Now if I went to a brush which is stitch, by default it's the it's that alpha that I've used there. This is pretty awesome for like clothing. I just chose it for that one just because I didn't have any other, because I couldn't be bothered essentially just going in like each and every one. Well, that's pretty bad to say, but yeah, I just wanted to see what it looked like really. I don't really know what else to say, what else to cover. I think I've done it all that. Now I guess that's pretty much all I learnt to get going. I'll show you some more tools, I guess. The move tool that essentially just pulls parts of the model out. So if you this is why it's better to go in at a lower subdivision level. I'm doing Shift D to as a shortcut to do that, to go in and move blocky parts out. So when I go up to the hide, it keeps the detail, even though if it's not wanted. Rather, if I went in on the highest subdivision level and did it, I'd sort of like lose the detail there, I guess, the smoothness of sorts. Also, I want to move on to here quickly. At the moment I'm in edit mode, and if I went out of that by pressing T, I'll be in a new canvas and I'll be drawing again, drawing the tool out. Now you'll do this by accident, you keep building up, thinking like you're moving around, and you just build up and build up and build up. It's annoying. So if you do that, just Control N, gets rid of them all, and just draw one out straight away, and then press T to get back in, or just edit. Now I can move this model, but because I've got symmetry on, it's going to move with symmetry, and that looks crazy. So by pressing X, I'm going to turn it off or on again, and I can move the model away. It looks really strange. This is how really, I guess, I got the hat into that position. I drew it out, and to draw it out as well, when you have it there, I right clicked on the model. It won't do it, you'll just rotate if you go around the model. You can move it as well, and if that will like deform it that way. If you hold it in the middle, then that will move it. You notice that he's only got half hair because the rest isn't going to be seen because of the hat. I don't really know what else to say. I think I kind of covered it. I guess no, in fact no, I haven't yet. here you have Z add and Zub. Zub essentially, when I'll go into a clay build, if I have Z as, so I'm adding to the model there. If I went onto Zub, I'll be detracting from the model. Alternatively, if I have it on Z add, which is probably just recommended to have it on, if I just simply hold Alt, I'd be automatically selecting Zub, so I'll be detracting from the model. And here you'll have the intensity, the Z intensity. This essentially controls how much you are adding or subtracting to the model. So if I went up to 100, I'll be adding more, and it just goes absolutely nuts. So it's probably best to have it on a lower Z add, so you can build it up, so you can have that really like clay feel to it. So it's like sculpting an actual object. I don't think I'll go into the brushes completely apart from Trim Dynamic in a minute, because it's all about experimenting. You just have to experiment with different brushes, different alphas, just to see what works best for you and your style, I guess. But Trim Dynamic is one of my favourite ones as well, because this essentially just flattens out the model, bring it into that sort of like nice, especially this is what I did on the nose here, because of the style I was going for. I want it to get it quite flat on here, but sometimes it's too intense, so I'll have to dial that down a bit. It's more subtle. And combining this tool and the damn standard, dial that down as well and bring that up. You can get some nice edges going on, some nice stylized stuff. I think that's a bit too much, that, so I'll just go back. I won't be saving this anyway. Yeah, don't know really what else. If there is anything that you want me to cover, just drop me a message wherever this video may be, and I'm sure I'll get to you. And yeah, I think the next video I'll probably go into Z-sphere, building a head or something like that. I don't know. I'll create something random, and yeah, I'll do that. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful. It's supposed to be a test, but whatever.